3. Honey, I was going through glasses. Mia. Hi, guys. Cheryl. Walter, thank you so much for the super chat. Walter is always consistent. He sent me not super chats, cash apps. Thank you, Walter. Big supporter of the channel. Love you, Walter. I'm DeAndre. Hi. Hi, everybody. Oh no, honey. Why my mouse? Shit. Well, we gotta wait for the judge anyway. My mouse went dead. It's like I charge it, but I only charge it for like 5 minutes at a time when I need to charge it for like an hour so it could be fully charged. Anyway, while we wait for the judge to log on, I do have a monologue, but I need my mouse for my monologue because I pulled one of the comments from the last video that I uploaded, Chinese FBA question mark, which was a really good video because me and the judge was talking about sinners, and we were talking about, during that time, the time that it took place in sinners in the 1930s, when we talk about immigration, Chinese, black culture and black society, what was going on. It was a mixture of things, right? But so while my mouse charged before I get into the monologue, I need for you guys to let me know which glasses I look better in tonight. Glasses number 1, exhibit 1. So these are, wide frame. So this would be glasses number 1. Let me know what you guys think. I'm still pretty and cute. Yes. So, okay, glasses 1. This is glasses number 1. Now, glasses number 2 is, these are always my go-to. These are my fave. These are the signature glasses of the real Dana, aka Dana with the data. So this is glasses number 2. And I want you guys to put in the chat glasses 1, glasses 2, or glasses 3. This is glasses 2. But today, honey, I'm so pale. I gotta start wearing makeup. The new year is next week, and I will be starting to wear makeup when I honey, do these lives. Gotta upgrade. And these are glasses number 3, the Chloe's. Glasses 3. So which one is better? 3, 2, or this is 1. This is 2, and this is 3. 2? 2, the black ones. 1, we need to see more of the face. I like 1 already. I see 2, I see 1. Actually, let me do a poll. I think this mouse should be a little bit of juice in the mouse. Let me do a poll because I am indecisive, which I need to work on. I'll get back to that. Hit the thumbs up. Just hit the thumbs up, guys. Let me do this damn poll. Oh, a lot of people saying 1. Well, okay. First of all, Cray Talk, you can't glasses. Which glasses are best? 1, 2, 3. 1 are is black. What was the last one? Clear. And the glasses 1 is the purple wide. Here we go. All right. So I put a new poll up. So this is glasses 3. This is the clear. These are the clear Chloe's. 3. This is 3. This is 2. These are my go-to. You guys always see me in these. These are the Tom Fords. What about these? And I'm going off the polls. So make sure you vote in the poll. So this is number 2. These are the black ones. Those are my signature glasses. And this is number 1, the purple. I kind of was feeling this tonight because, with this hairstyle, because I have the braids, because I'm working out, it kind of just fills up the face. So this is one. So let me know in the chat which ones do you guys like. Okay, so right now you guys are feeling number 2, the black ones. So I am going to stick with the black. Majority rules. Your vote, see, this is democracy. Your vote matters. And we got to talk about that Fulton County voting fraud, honey. Yes, I'm having Mr. Charles Rambo. He's coming on tonight in a little bit to talk about the Fulton County fraud. So I put a poll up because a lot of people are saying 1 and 2. Right now, 2, the black ones are winning at 48%. Purple and the clear ones are tied at 25%. So black is at 50%. So I'm wearing a black tonight. I'm gonna wear the black. Yeah, it's no glare. And you know what? The purple and the clear, I bought that this year. Very expensive. And I told them assholes at the eye place, put everything on my glasses that were on these, the ones I got the year prior. And that was the no glare. But it seems like, especially that clear one, it's a lot of glare. And I'm like, did they forget to put the glare? Because I paid $1,500 for 2 pairs of glasses. But whatever. It is what it is. Fanny! Yes, honey, they're cheating with the polls down. I can't see the poll. They cheat with the polls down in Fulton County. And honey, what is going on? This is the house of Charlie. I changed the thumbnail to put Erica on the thumbnail, and I should have just left Trump on the thumbnail. I may switch it back to the original thumbnail with Trump on it. But the house of Charlie, honey, TPUSA had a mega conference, which started last week, Thursday, and ended Sunday. And you had people come up on that stage, dissing one another. Candace Owens, went ether on Ben Shapiro. Honey, we got to get into all that. Yes. JD Vance taking shots at Jasmine Crockett. Later in the show, we got to talk about Elon Musk and his slavery comments. Like, sit down, Elon. For real, sit down. Shout out to everybody on X. Please like and repost on X. Guys, please like this video, share this video on all of your social media outlets. It's appreciated. We're waiting for the judge, and I'm tired of his CPT time. I really am. It's just too much. Oh, there he goes. Soon as I said his name, Ben should hook up with Fanny. Yes. I know you're gonna move that camera into your regular seating, right?
I had to move to get a signal.
All right. I'm gonna put you backstage so you get settled. All right.
Okay.
He got a new iPhone, a new iPad, and a new desktop. And we still having issues. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Should I say happy Kwanzaa? No. Merry Christmas. Hi, Judge.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. What's happening is our local utility company has these smart meters, which are AT&T cell phones, essentially, and they dial up every 20 seconds to report your usage for the convenience of those suppliers who will make your smart home smarter. So 3 times a minute, every home around here that's got a utility meter broadcast on the same system that we're trying to go through right now. So that's quite a few people in Memphis and Shelby County or Shelby County. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a clogged up mess.
Um,
It's a good way of letting people, if you have smart devices in your home, find out what you're seeing, looking at, listening to, or doing.
well, before we get into the show, I want to share this, right? Because we Rambo is coming up at 9:30. I want to share this comment. So I dropped a video Sunday, and it was a clip. It was over a week ago. We discussed the Sinners movie, but we were speaking about the Sinners movie, um talking we incorporated black culture, Chinese DNA. And so the title is Judge Joe Brown says FBA have significant amount of Chinese ancestry, right? And I wanted to highlight this comment here because this comment, by frequency of equanimity or whatever, 77, it started off as a really good comment. And I love when you guys comment in the comment section, right? Especially when you are talking to the topic. But this person veered off when they tried to take a jab at me, right? So it says, Judge is absolutely correct. What we know today as soul food was initially introduced to us FBAs by English and Scottish indentured servants who were in servitude while a small majority of us were in captivity. Chitlins, hog maws, pig feet, cornbread, collard greens, black eyed peas, fried chicken, etc., all come from the Anglo diet, which were known as delicacies during that time period. It was the Scots who introduced fried chicken and the English who introduced the essential entrees that make up soul food. The Caucasian Angles learned this from the black nobility of Europe who ruled until the late 1500s. These were the foods they ate during their time as the serfs and villains of the manor. Judge is also correct in his statements that a lot of black cultures derive its origins from what's considered white culture, food, religion, and music included. I don't believe the music part. And so she goes on, she or he goes on to say, and as always, Dana's half-witted assessment of the titular villain's motives was disheartening and more cringeful parroting of woke emotional projection analysts. Remick's motives for wanting Sammy's abilities were made clear throughout the movie. Remick needed Sammy's abilities to travel through time to get back to his original timeline. Now, everything was good until you start insulting me. And there's nothing half-witted, witty, or whatever the hell she was saying or he was saying. And you're wrong, because that's not what Remick needed. He didn't need Sammy's abilities to travel through time, dummy. He wanted his abilities because he was so tired. And so the subliminal message is, what do vampires do? They suck the living life out of you. And he wanted to suck all of that black natural culture talent of Sammy's and have him embark it and have it so that he can profit off it or become just as talented as Sammy. And when you translate that into real time, when you look at the music industry, black people don't really own nothing. They don't own their music. They don't own, a lot of their catalogs, blah, 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 blah. And black culture is replicated throughout different parts of the world, throughout the whole world. Whether you go to Japan, China, or anywhere in the world, they participate in hip hop or what have you. So it was a good comment up until when you started insulting me, bitch. And when you start insulting me, I gotta block you. I didn't even block this person, but it's just like you started off so good and you ended off so bad. Stop focusing on me. Because if you would have just focused on your original comment, I would have pinned it. But because you went down a yellow brick road and you want to focus on me and you want to throw jabs at me, and that is the problem with Black people. You are so quick to kick a back end of somebody else instead of focusing on the damn mission. And number two, can you please take that coat off because that leather cringing sound is.
I put it on because it's cold in here right now.
You
So
have a whole
I'll
bunch
be
of
still.
No,
I'll
you're
be
not gonna do
still.
that. Any
I,
slight
I
movement.
was doing laundry.
I don't want to hear none of that. You got a Navy coat. Where's the aviation coat?
Which aviation coat?
Never mind.
I'll be still.
That's that. What kind of leather is that again?
It's horsehide. It's
I think you wore
what
that to
the
get on my
Tuskegee.
nerves.
No, it's what the Tuskegee Airmen wore and the Red Tails in World War II. It's an A2 flight jacket.
Mo, that wasn't you who wrote that comment. So stop. That wasn't you. But the moral of the story is focus on the topic. Never mind Dana. Never mind Dana. Yeah, honey, you're going to have to take the coat off.
Nobody cares. I've worn this for a lot of stuff. Okay.
Even if when you breathing is making it move. Like why do you wear that? That thing is so annoying.
Because it is.
That's not even a winter coat.
But it works so nicely.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's like no. Yeah, he's squeaking. They can hear you squeaking.
Well, I mean, it's what it does.
No,
mean,
it's
it
not. And I think
general
you do
issue
that on
for the
purpose.
Army Air Corps. General MacArthur wore one all the time, even
I
in
want
the
to hear that.
Pacific. All of those flyers wore it. So out of respect for them, I wear it saying, hey, there was some good warriors. Well, they may not have done podcasting, but you'll have to excuse me for a second if you want me to put something else on. Now, I do have one of these that's quiet. It's made out of kangaroo skin. Same thing. They had a surplus of kangaroos when they got down to Australia. So there's some kangaroos being flown these days. It's still what the Air Force wears. But anyway, let's see. And then they had some cowhide ones that were cheapos, but these are horsehide. They had a lot of surplus horsehide, because the cavalry switched to mechanized vehicles and the poor horses were surplus, so they got put to a tragic use. I'll go get another one. Just hold on.
Well, because I see Rambo in the back, so hurry up. So you guys
okay.
Hear him squeaking. I can because I have the earpiece here. I hear everything, and I can't do it tonight. I can't. He knows. He wore that to aggravate me, I believe, because he knows I don't like that coat.
Actually, I just found it on a chair back, and I said, "Oh,
I'm abusing the elderly." He doesn't consider himself an elderly. He doesn't think I'm abusing him. That he's abusing
not as
me.
old as the president.
He's abusing me because he knows I don't like when he wears that coat when we're podcasting. He's abusing me, but nobody cares. Put on an aviation jacket. And wear your cowboy hat.
This is an aviation
Somebody said I
code.
want to see the kangaroo jacket.
That is what it looks just like. It is just a darker brown.
Mm-hmm. Mo, somebody
Kangaroo
needs to
skin.
abuse you. They was
Excellent
like, you,
leather.
Mo said you definitely abused the judge. Well, Mo, it's somebody needs to abuse you. Because if you guys saying that I abuse him, that means you calling him weak. Are you weak, Judge? Huh? Judge? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Talking to me?
Yes, I asked you a question. I said, are you weak? He can't hear me. He walked too far away from the phone. Catalia. Is a judge a pilot? No, he just pay homage and represent the Tuskegee Airmen and military aviation. Cheryl, the judge is like 80 years old. So when you up in your 70s, you always going to look tired. But he looks tired because he don't go to bed at 5 in the morning. The workout is going good. You know, week 1 is down. This is week 2. It's coming along. It's the beginning stages. It's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. I really do like my trainer. She's great. And if I keep at it, honey, ooh, a bitch gonna be snatched for her 50th. Yes. And that's the goal. To be snatched by the time I turn 50. And honey, I'm going to maintain that snatch forever. Can you hurry up? I should have told him just leave the coat on. I should have. I should have told him just leave the coat on, honey. Cause now he's going through the closet to pick out multiple coats. Guys, are you finished your holiday shopping? Oh, let me end that poll. And the black glass is still one. Okay. And let me put a new one up. Do you celebrate Christmas on the first day? Yes. No. Are you celebrating? Are you celebrating Christmas? Yes, no. Okay. Yes. I want to do Club Pilates. Yes, Pilates is very good. Oh my God. Honestly, and I don't like the way that looks. Why did you that's the kangaroo?
No, it's a ski jacket. Bogner.
I made it worse. I'm sorry, I made it worse because the other coat I didn't like the sound. I don't like the aesthetics on this one. But we don't got time
Well,
we don't have time. I have to bring
it's this thing. They had to reconstruct my house. I had a problem with a burst water heater on the second floor, and it made a mess. So I'm still unpacking stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, let me bring Rambo in, honey, because
Okay.
hi, Rambo.
Well, greetings and happy holidays, and Judge, you look good in whatever jacket you put on.
Damn thing is warm. Hell.
It's making me hot now. I don't like that coat, but
Listen, the coat I just came over The cold I just got over, you can send that thing down here to me. I'm wearing one all the way to June.
Well, all right, we'll go back to the Cold Chronicles later. I want to get into the first topic. Honey, what is going on in Fulton County? Y'all doing a lot of fraud. People are not getting locked up and they need to be in prison. So apparently, turns out people were right to question the 2020 election. Georgia just admitted it certified over 300,000 ballots in 2020 without following the rules. It says anyone who even hinted something smelt off got banned, sued, or blasted as conspiracy nut. Now we found out Fulton County skipped the basic step of verifying signatures on tabular tapes. That's not a technicality, that's the job. People raised red flags immediately, but got steamrolled by lawsuits, big tech censorship, and media outrage. Maybe if the system had allowed actual questions, we would have caught this sooner. Instead, people gagged the critics and let mistakes roll on. So,
And the president got indicted along with quite a few other people and put through a real mess that wound up getting kicked to the curb eventually. Yeah, really nice.
and I wanted to play this clip here. Yeah, I want to play this clip here.
I've not seen the tapes myself, but we do not dispute that the tapes were not signed. It was a violation of the rule. Since 2020, again, we have new leadership and a new building and a new board and new standard operating procedures. And since then, the training has been enhanced. The poll watchers are trained specifically. They've got to sign the tapes in the morning and they've got to sign the tapes when they're run at the end of the day. When the tapes come back to the hub for, with all the documentation, they are checked again. And if somebody forgot to sign a tape, then Fulton initiates an investigation. But we don't dispute the allegation.
And I remember this video floating around years ago. And nobody did anything or investigated or nothing. So who is this woman again, Rambo?
Excuse me.
Do you see her? I forgot her name.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's Kathy Woolard.
No. It was the other lady's name that we said.
Oh, Julie Adams?
Yes. Isn't that Julie Adams?
No, I don't think that's Julie Adams. She has a little more raspy voice.
Okay. Either way, the Fulton County Board of Elections attorney Ann Brombar admits that 315,000 early votes were illegally certified during the 2020 election. John Ossoff became a senator on a fluke. And we don't know how many other people were elected, on a fluke in 2020. And so Donald Trump was right all along when he was questioning Georgia. But you live in Fulton County. You were actually got caught up in voting fraud in Fulton County as well because you was running for sheriff, correct?
That's correct. I also ran not only that, I'll talk about 2024, but let's get to the 2020. I also was on the ballot, and that was the last time that I ran as a Democrat. So whatever happened at the top of the ballot from the president trickled all the way down to the local races to include the constitutional officers, sheriff, probate court judge, clerk of court, as well as the tax assessor. So a lot of those votes very well. I ain't gonna say could have. I know they were tampered with.
Yes. And do you think that it costs you probably that election or any other, elected official such as Fannie Willis.
Didn't
Because,
cost her. She got it handed to her.
well, yeah, I mean, as far as people being voted in on a fluke, Fannie Willis, I believe, is one of them. This John Os,
Also,
I forgot how you pronounce that last name.
John Ossoff, but most important, my opponent then and the opponent in 2024, which is Sheriff Patrick Labatt. He was also on the ballot, and it was it was reprehensible in terms of the numbers, in terms of how they turned out. To your point, I wanted to bring up that Julie Adams was one of the ones who essentially said that she was not going to certify the 2020 election because of the fact that she did not have all of the cross-referencing documentation that she needed. And they called her a voter dissenter. Uh, they called her everything, even all the way up to 2024 when she refused to certify that particular election. And ultimately, the Democrat majority on the Fulton County Board of Commissioners decided that they were not going to have her reappointed, even though the Republican Party had said, this is our nominee. So that is tied up at the Georgia appeals court level even right now. So with this new damning evidence and information come out, I can't wait to see Julie get on that board in her full term and really begin to speak and talk forthrightly about what happened.
And Julie,
Absolutely disgraceful.
Julie, that's the
Disgraceful.
video. That's the video you sent me of Julie. It was the 4-minute video that you had emailed me.
Yes.
Okay. I'll insert that when I do the editing and stuff. So what are they saying in Fulton County? Like, do the residents, the voters, do they care, or are they asking for a recall, or what is happening in Fulton County?
There's not been any outcry. In fact, even when the Trump case was dismissed by Pete Scandalakis, you didn't hear anything outside of maybe a day or two about that coverage. So it pretty much just died itself down. I really believe this is really going to take Department of Justice intervention to do anything about it. To get to the bottom of what happened, because even Rob Pitts, the chairman of the commission, said that they were not going to send them any documentation. Their elections were fair, their elections were this, that, and the other. And now we come to find out, not only did you find out about this incident, but a couple of weeks ago, you had a voting precinct doing a runoff where you had a poll worker, Fulton County poll worker, that is now under investigation for loading more ballots than what they were supposed to, and they were from family members. So if you've cleaned up what has happened, at the polls as well as at the tabulation center, why are we still having these problems?
Right. Anything on Fannie Willis after that dreadful hearing last week? Because we're talking about Fulton County, you have to talk about Fannie Willis. So what are people saying in Fulton County after that Georgia committee hearing?
Everything that I've been hearing basically has been giving her credibility as coming in and standing up against the Senate hearing or what have you. And again, it's not really been anything substantive other than highlighting the majority of her commentary.
Mm-hmm. She has a lot of supporters that were supporting her.
That's correct.
Yeah. So maybe when people were voting for her, that was genuine. Maybe those numbers were accurate. Maybe she won overwhelmingly because the majority in Fulton County do support her.
That is very accurate, particular up against the opponent that she was running up against up in 2020. But then again, at the same time, you have to again look at the merit of what the presidential election fraud supposedly was all about. And it was about the questioning of certain presets. Judge, you could tell me if I'm right or wrong, but essentially, when you have a problem at any precinct, it pretty much taints like the fruit of the poisonous tree. It taints the whole voting system that needs to be re-challenged all over. I think that was the problem with the Bush election down in Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was. And by the way, a Democrat had a lot to do with what happened down in Florida too, who was participating in the fraud. We won't get into that, but the Democratic Party just seems to have a proclivity to lie, cheat, and steal. And we had the same thing in Memphis, Shelby County. So that's at least two large American cities where you had notorious fraud. Trump was right. And this whole dialogue that went on for 4 years of the deranged people who were conspiracy nuts claiming that there was some kind of election fraud in 2020, that turned out to be true. As a matter of fact, it hasn't stopped. I was the official watcher for a congressional candidate in November 24 here in Memphis, Shelby County. And I saw voting fraud, and I was down at the election commission, and some of the commissioners were having a fit. You know what about? They had more votes cast at some precinct than people who signed in to vote. And I figured out how they did it. And during that particular session, I witnessed during the early voting 2 people vote twice. So, it's really pathetic. It's just like, okay, nobody is supposed to trust anybody now, maybe because they shouldn't, because certain people that have had a great deal of impact on how folk act these days have been dishonest, fundamentally dishonest. And they're not trying to pass good governance or get good governance. They have an agenda they're trying to push. And also, they look at these political offices as a get rich quick scheme. And they try to say, it's our time to get the gravy. No, it's your time to be law abiding and straighten things up, not continue to be crooked. And there's one difference between what they do and the old time political crookedness. At least a guy out in the street got something before, but now they just get ripped off. That's all. A guy told me one time during the election, he said, I was still a lawyer, and he said, Lawyer Brown, he said, you don't get a damn thing these days. Used to be when you went out and vote, you got a slice of sweet watermelon, good shot of whiskey, and a shiny quarter for your vote. Now you don't get shit. Wasn't lying either.
Well, to your point, and if I could just advance it, but still keep it in the 2020 election cycle, a lot of people have been asking about the results of the 2024 election that I was involved in. That essentially took almost a month and a half for them to certify, even after the November deadline. I have since filed a anti-litem notice against the county, as well as the Board of Commissioners and Elections, challenging the methods in terms of how they went about in dealing with the sheriff's race. And that's been almost about 60 days ago. So 30 days is that time frame. I've not heard back from them, so I'm determining next steps to go.
Well, so it was Donald Trump and how many other defendants? 7?
I think it was
18 in total.
Yes, 18.
So
18 total, and 2 of them pled guilty.
I believe the brother pleaded guilty, if I'm not mistaken.
well the
There were
point
2 individuals. I think they were lawyers that were involved in something. Pleas
well
of guilty.
the point I want to make with that is I think those people shouldn't have been charged in the first place because they were voter fraud going on, and it was not it was not by the hands of the individuals that were charged. They're trying to say, oh, these people were trying to cover up some type of voting fraud, but they weren't the ones doing the fraud or committing a crime. It was the Fulton County election board. So it's a hot mess, but it just highlights the corruption that is going on in the state of Georgia.
I did some tentative research a few months ago on past elections around the country over the last 230 some years. And the third most popular theme is election fraud. That's over the history of the country. And these people were doing nothing but speaking out against alleged election fraud. It's normal, but they got prosecuted for expressing an opinion. And that's something that is rather new in American law. I mean, back years ago, decades ago, you might get prosecuted if you used foul or obscene language or you had pornographic depictions of something, but you never got hauled on the carpet because of what you stated as an idea. And the politics might have been more polite, but it was a bit more earthy, and people called other folk out. And nowadays they want to prosecute you for that. And I don't know what this is about suppression or censorship of ideas that is taking hold. And that is just, that's just totally un-American.
Well, I even heard it here the last time I was on Dana's show, where certain citizens in my area, South Fulton, just felt, more or less elderly persons felt intimidated that if they spoke up and out against some of the things that were going on here, that they, would be targeted, what have you. And I told them, hey, anybody comes at you from the city, the county, what have you, in terms of trying to suppress your right to vote or to speak up about something dealing with city government, file a 1983 case up against them. Don't be afraid. I mean, I thought we got past the Jim Crow era. I thought we have gotten past dogs and water hoses or what have you. We got to stop this repression of our own fear and ignorance of the law.
Right.
Maybe the Negroes want to reminisce fondly. Some of them seem to be rather masochistic. Maybe they like the beatings.
Well, I tell you what I really hate, Judge, is that, whenever a politician gets into a rut, particular black politicians, the first thing that we do, we go back to old clips of the 50s and 60s, things that my generation never experienced. Yeah, we benefited from those things, but I mean, how much more better and further along should we be that we have to go back and rely on those things? I think we should have a much stronger political base in order to make moves on our terms.
Yeah, I agree with you. That makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things Dana and I were discussing today and yesterday is the lack of black heroes. Think about it. Who do we have as black male heroes? Basketball players? I mean, but that's not heroic. You get paid a lot of money for doing what a lot of people waste a lot of time on or you do as their favorite sport. So why is that heroic? Because you do your job as you get paid to do. You're not risking your life or anything, maybe a minor injury, but you get paid enough to compensate for that. So what is it? Chicken George Al, aka Sharpton, Al the Snitch. Let's see, you've got Cory Booker, You've got who do we have? Warnock. Oh goodness,
We
please.
don't have to name all these people. We just know anybody black in politics right
I
now.
know, but it's pretty
Oh,
roly-poly Martin. I mean, it's pretty
he's a
pathetic. Come
journalist.
on. I know, but that's who we have held up as our to be emulated heroic type, because we don't have anybody to look up to, at least the way the press is putting it, though I'm sure there are individuals, and I know some, who are very heroic people for real, but that's probably why they go back to the 50s so much and take that footage. They want to immerse themselves in the glory and the bravery or the stature of these people in the past and say, look, we are part of it. No, you're not.
Well, listen, thank you, Mr. Rambo, for coming on again, giving us some
Always
insight.
good to have you.
No, thank you, Judge and Dana. I appreciate it, but I really wish, and please bring me on. I'm telling you, what's really going to blow this out of the water is when the Julie Adams case comes back around from the Georgia appeals. When they come back and attribute everything that they've been saying about the the election deniers or what have you, that she was actually on point, not only in 2020, but also in 2024.
Okay. Definitely going
In
to have
other words, who are the big liars? It's not the people that were blowing the whistles. It's the ones that were
what happened?
too much.
Okay.
Judge, send me that code. I could use it.
No, not that one. Maybe the other one. I thank you, Rambo.
To get out of here.
All right. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Happy holidays to you as
Sure.
well. All right.
Always good hearing from you. 2 thumbs up.
So I know I'm gonna get on your nerves and probably everybody's nerves. I don't care. Number one, you have on those headsets. I don't know why, because you have a brand new phone that is crisp with the audio and the camera. So why do you have those headphones on, knowing that you're gonna have a lot of interference?
Because you sound so good.
Don't play with me.
Excellent stereo.
No, because
you do. I mean, they are the EarPod Plus things. They're like $600 some. So I mean, in first class, it's really good sound. I know they're really good sound systems. Best thing in the house. Sounds better than the TV.
Do you feel like changing your coat, honey? Because that coat is dreadful. What's the name? Is that a name brand? What's the name of that coat?
It's a Bogner.
Oh, let me Google. How you spell it?
Bogner.
Wait.
Look it up.
Bogner.
Yeah, Bravo, Oscar, Golf, November, Echo.
Okay, so which one you got? Because they got one $400, which
Romeo.
is then you got one for $1,300.
That's the 1,300. Actually, this one was more than that, and that was 18 years ago when I got it.
These cost 700, 2,000, 1,000. Bogner. Oh, honey.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Leave it on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ain't nothing cheap, you know. Some of us can.
I'm like, how you spell it?
Yeah, it's notice. It's a ski jacket.
Well, that's what you was wearing at Aspen.
Yeah, in Aspen.
In Aspen, yes.
It was at the house, one of the houses I had up there.
Well, all right, honey, let's get into it. Let's see here. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, remember he was owning his town.
Right. So his Netflix comedy dropped yesterday. I didn't watch it yet, but you watched it. But I want to play.
I saw it. I just wished he hadn't used the N-word so much. But
he always uses the N-word. You know that.
He didn't used to.
Oh.
way back when, or at least not on broadcast TV or cable.
Well, I
But
want to
anyhow,
play this clip real quick because he took some stabs. He took some stabs at Bill Maher and is taking stabs at content creators, honey. I got a problem with that.
well, we don't act like that.
Right. Um, so yeah, I didn't watch it yet. I am going to watch it. I didn't know it dropped after the fight on Friday. But what
I
did
saw it. The whole thing. It was interesting.
you said Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor, those your two favorite comedians.
Yeah, and there's Mencius also too.
So what did you walk away with? Because of a lot of Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy is political, you know.
Not only that, it's very sophisticated, and some of it has double entendre. It has two meanings to it at least. So you sometimes will get a deeper understanding if you dig very, very deep into what he's saying.
Right.
Like some of this so-called, I'm sure the audience took it as profound criticism of Trump, but actually some of it was complimentary if you dug deeply.
Well, he's not a pro-Trumper.
He's not pro, but he talked about Memphis. He said some interesting stuff about Memphis. He said, oh, Trump's sending the stuff in all these people, and they're saying he's trying to take things over. He said, but on the other hand, there's Memphis. Now they need it.
Oh.
He said,
It's like he
Memphis
plays
is
both
something
sides
else.
of the coin.
Yeah. He said, no, Memphis. He said, no.
You know what? I'm gonna watch it tonight.
He's right. Memphis got singled out. I told people, I said, this is the most violent city in America. You have to be out at night sometimes in this place to really experience what they're talking about. It is, and like the locals here want you to go through theft and death on the streets of Memphis so they can keep Trump from having made a point. They don't care. Like, what are you going to do about it? Well, we have to understand that the criminals are actually victims of the system. Yeah, fool. But that doesn't mean they got to kill you, fool, behind so you can be expressive of that. What are you going to do about that? I mean, I know they ripped your wife off, man, but like the rest of us care about the ladies in our lives. They aren't safe out there. The children aren't either, and your car is in mortal danger. All the cars that have been burglarized, hey. So what you gonna do?
Right.
You got all these folk wandering around in Memphis, the Democrats. We're gonna have to get the guns off of the street. Yeah, really? You're going to get the guns off the street that come in by the case with the kilos of the dope. Yeah. And you want the good citizens to be disarmed and the criminals. Oh, we're so impressed by our Democratic representatives that we are going to follow the law now because they identified us as victims and we just love it. And they said so much they'll give us if we just go along and don't shoplift more than $1,000 at a time, it'll be okay.
Well, I'm gonna check it out. So kudos again to Dave Chappelle. Let's go into.
I wish he wouldn't smoke so much, but he ain't smokes. He went cigarette after cigarette. I know it's his habit, but that really.
I think it's too late for him to stop. Like, if he stopped now,
yeah, but it'll help. He might, but I've watched people go through treatment for that, and that's not pretty.
Yeah, I think he always has a cigarette in his hand. And he's always puffing on it. Whether he's on stage, off stage, at interviews, he does need to pull back because he always has a cigarette. But I believe I heard him say he started smoking when he was 15 or 13. He started very young. And a lot of times,
Yeah, a lot of people do.
yeah. And they usually don't stop especially when you start that young. So I don't know. But all right, honey, let's move on to Turning Point USA, honey. They had their American Fest. What was it, from Thursday to Sunday? And it was drama. It was drama. But I want to get into this part of it first because Nicki Minaj has gone MAGA, apparently.
Nicki Minaj, what'd she say?
The utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact. He's from Queens, New York, like me. So, but what it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it. I have, but you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly. Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies. And it's just not fair. But we won't be silenced ever again. We will speak up for Christians wherever they are in this world. Amen. We won't be silenced. Dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine. Yes, we did. You have to laugh about it, truly. I have been called every single thing, and you know what? God is so good, you let it roll right off your back. And this is what's so beautiful about this moment, because if the internet wants to clip it, who cares? I love this woman.
Dear young man.
So that's Nicki Minaj showing her support for MAGA conservatives. She's a pro-Trumper. People on the left in Hollywood is upset. And why? First of all, for me personally, I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, Independent, Green Party. I don't care. I don't like seeing celebrities mixed in with politics at all. I'm still standing my ground because yes, the Democrats, that's their trick pony to bring on a whole bunch of celebrities when it's, election time and shake your booties to the poll. And now it seems like the Republicans are trying to do it, but they're just trying to do it in a more elegant type of way. But Nicki Minaj talked a lot of this, and her music is vulgar. It is. So again, I don't care for celebrities mixed in with politics. What say you?
They act like they've got sense. I've run into an interesting dichotomy. Some entertainers are hyper intelligent and some aren't so much so. So if you're an intelligent person, that's fine. Also, some of the entertainers might surprise you with their backgrounds. For example, she's deceased now. She was a fine lady, Snoop Dogg's mother. She had a master's degree, and we did some programs together 25 years ago, 20 something like that. And she was saying how much of an intellectual and an
Academia.
an intellectual
Mm-hmm.
academician that Snoop Dogg was son. And every now and then he'll say something that shows that. And she was talking about Long Beach got this idea of trying to balance out its schools and what they wound up doing to him in the school system in junior high. So his reaction to it. But he is a very intelligent person. A friend of mine, Tracy Reed, was an actress. She did Love Boat, a couple of movies with Billy Crystal, and she was in Car Wash. She was the girlfriend for the guy with the big afro. Beautiful lady, but she got in UCLA at 16 years old and graduated at 19. So some of these people are very intelligent. You know, by the way, she volunteered at Trinity Avenue Elementary School playground with Vivian Parker, another very beautiful but very intelligent woman, with another Chappelle, Dr. Ron Chappelle, and my late brother, Dr. Clifford Stewart. There's some very smart people that are actors and entertainers, and there's some very dumb ones as well.
Right. So but I think for me, it's always a motive, and because politics, why politic if you're not going to, if you're not going to get anything out of it? The purpose of politicking is to get something out of it. Now, I found out she is not a U.S. citizen. She came here from Trinidad with her mother when she was 5. I don't think she even came here legally, but she ended up getting residency status, maybe a green card, but she's not a citizen, even though she's been paying millions of dollars in taxes because of her profession. She made millions. So is she trying to get in good with the Trump administration to fast track her citizenship? That would be smart. But at the end of the day, I just think that, it's the right message, maybe the wrong messenger. However, Charlie Kirk didn't like her at all. And so even though he's dead and gone, and now the wife is bringing her on, but this has to do with business. But I want to play the clip of Charlie Kirk criticizing Nicki Minaj. Here we go.
Culture is being held captive by influences, songs,
Which
and role models.
influences?
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about like glorifying wet female genitalia is exactly. I don't know which one wrote that song. Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, not representation. It's who do you get your art from? It's what values are they putting forward? It's the question of every day. For example, more times than not, black politicians will lament the condition of America. It's systemically racist. It's terrible. What does that do to a 14-year-old black kid if you just find that you hear that everything is rigged against you? Instead, they should be saying, hey, there might be some barriers, but if you believe in yourself enough, you can achieve in this country. It creates a form of social conditioning of low expectations. And right now.
So, yeah, he didn't care for her. He's saying that, she's not a good representation because of what she does for a living and the things she has said. I have to agree with him. This is why celebrities, I don't intervene with them with politics.
Yeah, there's this thing, see, when you get involved in politics and you're out front, you put a face to things. So, what kind of image are you projecting to the people that might start looking up to you, not just as an entertainer, but as somebody who might say something or do something worth emulating? And the problem is what do they emulate? Sometimes slutty behavior, sometimes profane behavior, or is it something that would cause them to prosper in life? Now, that's what I was saying too. There are some smart entertainers and some big dummies. But let me tell you what politics is very briefly. Anytime you get three people, one, two, three chimpanzees, three baboons, and they have to cooperate in doing something that's not one way and another way, that's one, two, three ways. So two people are going to try to make an alliance out of this three. So the two get their way against the one. And that's politics. And you can see politics in the raw if you visit your local zoo and sit down for a while and watch the chimps and the baboons. They engage in politics. You can see them over in the shadows and behind the bushes dealing with each other and trying to curry influence. So politics is just basically the interaction of three or more human beings in a project. And what is the project? We have to cooperate when we hunt, when we gather, when we farm, when we build devices, when we make stuff, when we travel. So you can't escape politics. Politics sort of, it's like driving. You can't drive without a highway or a roadway unless you go out and build the roadway. And then if you get traffic on it, you need some rules of the road so nobody runs into anybody.
Mhm.
And you need common sense. So that's what politics is. That's kind of what happens when people have to operate on the highway of life in the world. You have politics.
Well, JD Vance, he tweeted this, posted this on X. He said Nicki Minaj said something at AmFest that was really profound. I'm paraphrasing, but she said, just because I want little black girls to think they're beautiful doesn't mean I need to put down little girls with blonde hair and blue eyes. He goes on to say, we all got wrapped up over the last few years in zero sum thinking. This was because the people who think they rule the world pit us against one another. At Nicki Minaj rejects that. We all should. Now, she should, but she's right. You could uplift little black girls. You don't have to put down little white girls with blonde hair. But at the same time, Nicki Minaj be wearing blonde hair and blue eyes, emulating white women. But I get the point she was making, and but here's the thing, and this is why politicians love to use celebrities, is because it does give them more of a reach, makes them look cool, and the celebrities fans and followers can now shift and follow and support these said politicians. So it's all a game. um I
Well,
just think,
it's like you have to see, the problem is you may be a very profound person. You may be that person that is absolutely needed. But if you can't get anybody to follow you, it doesn't do any good. That's why the military is able to do a lot of things that civilian situations can't handle, because the military has a structure. And if the person occupies the position, then you have to go along with what happens with the leadership that's provided.
mhm.
So that's a good thing. But again, back to this point, we have few heroes in the country. And by the way, President Donald Trump, functions as an American hero for a lot of people because he's bold. He did not flinch when he was wounded. He, right in the face of danger that was, as far as he was concerned, and everybody who was contemporaneously looking at it was concerned, was imminent, was lethal and potentially fatal. So he upheld. He didn't talk about take your booties to the pole. He was there and he said, I don't think he said fight. I think he said the F-U-C-K word, you know, when that happened, which is cool by me.
Right.
But, you know, he was bold. He didn't flinch.
Well, Nicki Minaj,
So
she's not stupid. You know, she always has a plan. You know, she's a very smart businesswoman. So I know she is giving her endorsement for the Trump administration with a purpose. Part of that is, you know, to speak out against the genocide of Christians worldwide. But, you know, and then the other big part is personal. That's going to personally help her. And why not?
wait till you get to the part in the Chappelle thing about him being in Saudi Arabia.
I played
And
that clip real quick when he.
then the hawk in the tranny sitting in the second row.
Oh, I
The
didn't.
hawk in the tranny in the
Oh,
second
tell
row
me. Let
of the
me watch
concert.
it. Let me watch it. Don't tell me.
Oh
No.
wait, I just want to. No, that's not the part. The part is the conclusion.
Why are you telling me the part? When I said,
Focus
let me
on
watch
that.
it. Let me
No,
watch it.
I'm just that's only the start of the joke.
All right. Thank
So
you.
it's
Let's
got to
move
do
on.
with something else
Okay.
entirely.
Thank you.
But
Don't
just
tell me
pay
the joke.
attention to that.
I will. All right. I want to move. I want to go back to JD Vance. I want to move to JD Vance because he came for Jasmine Crockett.
May
And
I say one other thing? I'll give to JD Vance and Donald Trump. They've got some fine, pretty women on their arm, and they have surrounded themselves in attractive women who are capable, which is more than I can say for the Democratic Party, in spite of their rhetoric to the contrary.
Oh, you saying JD Vance's wife Usha is pretty?
Yes, and
You know
so
what his
is
wife looks
Donald
like?
Trump's wife.
Have you seen a picture of
Yes,
Usha? She's Indian.
yes,
Okay.
I know she's beautiful. So anyway, the other thing is they are surrounded by women who are on their staffs more so than you would be accustomed to seeing a Democrat surrounded.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to play this because JD Vance, when he spoke yesterday at the TPUSA AmFest, America Fest, or America First Fest, he took a shot at Jasmine Crockett and she clapped back. So here's the clip.
She wants to be a senator, though her street girl persona is about as real as her nails.
The caricature he tried to make of you at this conservative youth conference, I think every black woman heard what he was trying to say there.
We have a candidate in me who absolutely plans to talk to any and everybody, and that is why they are afraid. The fact that he said I have a quote-unquote street girl persona, I'm sorry, but anybody that you talk to knows my credentials. They know that I've gone to school. They know that I'm educated. I never tried to put on some random story about where I came from, but at the end of the day, I am who I am, and I am authentic. And that is actually what they are fearful of, is my authenticity, because it rings true with every single American, whether they're a Texan or not. It rings true that I am fighting for real everyday people. And instead of talking about policy, when you're talking about the record speaks for itself, baby, let's talk about your record. Because the only reason you're the vice president is because the current president tried to have his last president killed. Let's talk about qualifications. Let's talk about who has actually been fighting for people way before she ever ran for office, whether it was in the courtroom or if it was in the streets, making sure those that were out there wanting to exercise their constitutional right to come together and protest injustices. I was representing pro bono people that were getting arrested as they were out in the streets. So listen, I don't have time for him and their games. They are scared and they should be scared. I need Texans to focus in. I need them to think about the fact that our 2 senators literally just voted against extending the Affordable Care Act tax subsidies that would help almost an additional almost 4 million people that are on the marketplace in a state where we have 5 million that are completely uninsured. They basically are trying to put another 4 million people off of their insurance. And this is before we endure the cuts that are coming because of the big ugly bill where we know 17 million people in this country are going to lose their health care. Listen, I'm staying focused. I'm not going to be distracted. And when they can tell me about their policies that are helping Texans, then we can have a conversation. Until then, take whatever shots you want to take at me, because I have been a black woman my entire life. I promise you there are other people just like JD Vance who have tried to do the same racist tropes my entire life, and somehow I ascended and became a U.S. Congresswoman. It will not be different when I become a U.S. Senator, and we can have a conversation when I get to the Senate floor if he wants to talk.
I know that's right.
How about this one? I'm a career black man. I've been around twice as long as you in life, being black. And I think you're a crock of whatever it is. You're ignorant. You display stupidity. You put on a fake act. And you remind me of a joke. I forget who it was. Nipsey Russell, not Hustle, but Russell, the comedian. Or was it... I'll remember, but he used to talk about he would go out and he went out and picked somebody up at a bar. And when she got back to the place he was staying and she started taking everything off, there wasn't much there once it came off. She's fake. She went to a $35,000 a year finishing school before she went to Cecil B. Rhodes College here in Memphis, Tennessee, where she became part of the Young Democrat cabal, which is a bunch of little goons trying to steal the city line right now. And perhaps she picked up too much from them. She talks garbage. She's talking about this affordable care cut, but she's not talking about it concerns the illegal aliens who were getting free health care at taxpayer expense, while the rest of the citizens, and especially our great veterans, are not getting anything at all. She's not talking about the fact that some of the cuts have to do with some illegal alien families getting $5,000 a month, $5,000 a month for a family of 4 who have broken the law and crashed the border. So she's not giving us the truth. It's a typical pack of lies, and it sounds like a good little sweet Nazi who is trying to be glammed up. And I'm sure her beautician bill per year is very enormous, and I wonder where she gets that to. Is that part of her work budget? Or do the taxpayers pay for that too? So anyway, she's a fake little critter.
Well, let me say this.
She exhibits one little last point. Malcolm X, St. Malcolm said it. Said a processed head reveals a processed mind, and look how processed her head is.
Well, that's a wig and a weave.
Well, exactly. So it's fake. You know, it's a processed set of hair.
Well, I got fake hair with my braids.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's fake. And look at it. And that's what kind of mind she has. Her wig hat exemplifies her mind.
Well, I didn't. Her response didn't have to be 2 minutes because he took a jab, and I think she is being serious now because she's running for senator. So she is speaking more to the people in the state of Texas, and she's speaking more to specific policies for Texans and the nation, right? Because you want to be senator in that state. And that's why she gave a 2-minute response, where his jab of her was only 35 seconds. She could have just posted something. She could have tweeted something Like, boy, bye. Or,
She doesn't
oh,
have the wit to
right.
respond.
So let me say this. Maybe not, but someone in her camp does, and they should have said, listen, just tweet, oh, I'm just as fake as your what you call that fake hair that men wear. I'm just as fake as your
Toupee.
toupee that you wear, since you want to talk about my fake, something like that. She should have just came back with that.
She
We did
can't
not-
run the dozens.
It's not. It's not.
She's
It's not.
not very
It's not about
black. She
that.
doesn't know how to run the
It's not
dozens.
that. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Because Trump is not black, and he, run the dozens. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not
I'm just
about
saying
her.
she's not very
Let
good
me
at it.
finish. Let me finish what I was saying. It's not about her being like a Trump or trolling like a Trump. What I'm saying is everything does not deserve a drawn out reply. And certain things that she's going to have to learn, you're going to have to just take a jab back or just not respond at all. But again, she's trying to convince the public that I'm not ghetto, and I am a serious politician, and I'm speaking to the issues. And
Actually,
it
she
may be a
tries
little
to
too
come
late.
across as ghetto hood rat. So, well, I was speaking sarcastically about her background. She's got exactly the opposite type of background, but she tries to come across as street, which she's faking about it. And that also is shown by the fact that she can't come back with the repartee, which is a witty response to somebody cracking on her. She has to go where she went. She doesn't have anybody on her staff because they don't get it. If you talk to them in person, they don't get it. And the other thing is, she wouldn't be very street if she couldn't come back on somebody. So she's just faking that too. And the one thing that I find interesting is she's just as lame as it comes. She's pompous and she's narcissistic. And the thing about it is Vance is going to be very difficult to campaign against when he runs for president because he's like a good stand-up comic. He's very fast on his feet with the comebacks and with what I'm reading the audience. Yeah, that's it, blap. And he hits them with something heavy and they laugh about it, or it's funny, or it's telling. And her, all she can do is lamely pontificate about it.
Pontificate, yeah.
The girl ain't too swift. And by the way, all that pro bono nonsense she's talking about, if you are somebody's representative, a public defender, and you that kind of slow-witted stuff, I feel for you.
Yeah. Well, guys, please hit the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share the video. So yeah, please hit the like button and share this video. And if you would like to send in a donation, please do via super chat if you have a comment, question, or whatever. So, honey, let's get into it. We gotta get into the main event. Candace, she destroyed Ben Shapiro. Before I play Candace's response, I want to play what Ben Shapiro said at the America Fest. Yes, America Fest Summit.
Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, "My goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this," and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself, quote, into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side here, Erica Kirk's side.
Okay, so that was Ben going in on Megyn Kelly, and Megyn Kelly did respond to Ben Shapiro, and this is Megyn Kelly's response, and then I'm gonna get to Candace Owens.
was also some response where it seemed like that call was being co-signed by the new head of CBS News, Barry Weiss, and I wanted to know if you wanted to respond to that as well.
So it's a similar situation with Barry. None of this is about them calling me out for anything I've said or haven't said, or it's certainly not about Erica Kirk, as Ben tried to make it sound last night. It's about Israel. Those two are very pro-ardent Israel activists, which is fine, but they don't get to dictate how the rest of us feel about Israel or what we do with respect to our friends and our friends' opinions on Israel. And I'll tell you, Barry Weiss wants to couch herself as Erica's protector, Erica's defender. She's retweeting the Ben speech, saying anybody who doesn't call out conspiracy theorists is a coward. Erica Kirk barely knows Barry Weiss. Barry doesn't know anything about Erica. Barry Weiss has never been to a Turning Point event. Do you guys remember her here? Standing up for what we believe in when Charlie was alive? I don't remember her standing up for our principles. I don't remember her defending Charlie the many times he was called a racist or an anti-Semite. I really don't remember that at all. What I do remember is she had Erica Kirk come on one town hall in which Barry Weiss tried to play both super important VIP executive and super fabulous star anchor at her new network CBS. Pro tip, Barry, that's no way to win friends at your new organization, to try to steal all the hosting abilities of the on-air talent. So good luck with that. And what she did when she had Erica there was to have the nerve to bring on the man who asked the final question of Charlie right before he got shot.
Hunter Kozak.
To put Erica in the position of having to defend whether Trump uses hateful rhetoric. The nerve.
I'll just say I didn't appreciate when I saw that happened, and I don't think that ever should have happened. I don't think that question should have been asked, and I noticed that when Hunter Kozak did that, he immediately went to try to get Erica to denounce Trump, denounce his rhetoric. This is a man who was standing in front of Charlie, in front of her husband when he died, and he never once even said to her the basic human decency of saying, I'm sorry for your loss.
He was sick, and that was a Barry Weiss move, because trust me, I've done town halls. You know who the questioners are, and you know what the questions are in advance in that setting. So she knew it was coming, and she thought it was appropriate to have Charlie's widow answer for Trump's violent rhetoric. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful, and I will not be taking any lessons from Barry Weiss in how to treat Erica or anyone else.
All right.
Yeah, okay. So that was that.
I like Trump's violent rhetoric. Okay.
You do. But here's the thing with
it's better than the Democratic Party for more violent rhetoric. Go ahead.
But here's the thing with this America Fest. So you had Ben Shapiro, Steve Bannon, and other speakers come up taking jabs at other people that were there to speak. So Steve Bannon was taking jabs, I think, at Ben Shapiro and other people. Ben Shapiro was taking jabs at Tucker Carlson and Candace, but Candace wasn't there, and Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson was there. He was taking jabs. It's like it's so much drama in the Turning Point family community in the MAGA world. Is MAGA falling apart? So I want to play this because
that's not MAGA. That's Turning Point, not MAGA.
Well, MAGA is a movement. It's not an organization.
Well, it's got the potential for turning into a third, very well-founded and grounded political party.
Right, but a lot of people at Turning Point are MAGA. They are part of the Republican conservative.
Yeah, but they're a small group. But they're good guys for the most part. But they're not biggest thing going.
So this is Candace just shut it all down because she wasn't there. She's not part of Turning Point. But when she heard Ben Shapiro try to take jabs at her, now her comeback was lethal.
When Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know no when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in. That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. Look at you, and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. He's one of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant?
I know that's right.
Them for
all right, Mrs. Farmer.
And that's what I call
ladyship.
But that's what I call a read. That's how you're supposed to read.
There's a heck of a difference between her and Jazzman, Wig Hat Crockett.
Well, listen, she ethered Ben Shapiro. She said, fuck you and that midget horse you rode in on. And that's the first time I heard her say F, but honey, she knows how to use the F word and she says it with conviction. So I approve that message. Yeah.
She's a very personable woman, very intelligent, very erudite, very educated, and very well researched. So
she is.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. Now, but my question is this the beginning of the end of this MAGA movement? Because it's a whole bunch of
it's not. MAGA is a trend that is just getting started. Make America great again. Make America great again. MAGA. You can say MAGA or MAGA or MAGA, I suppose.
MAGA is MEGA.
That's if you pronounce it the English way. or the European
This is the
way.
United States.
A-E-I-O-U. In America, it's A, mega or MAGA, which would be the European way. You can do it either way.
MAGA. We're not in.
Tomato, 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 tomato.
We don't
That
have.
I'm in this.
There's no kings
Honey,
here. Kings.
dear lady, I'm down here in the South. I ain't up there in the North, in them cold regions. We call it
It's
mega.
cold where you at too right now.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a difference. Tomato, tomato. MAGA is a movement that will not be stopped. It's a populist movement. It isn't into big business and high finance. It's into people. The Democratic Party, the general alternative, is into how much face hair can you have and still have a penis and go pee in the girl's bathroom. You know, I mean, that's what they're into. So this is a party for normal people. And Candace Owens Farmer, Mrs. Farmer, her ladyship is a fine woman, and I like to listen to her speak. She is a well-reasoned person. So her reasoning is sound.
I look at it like this though, because there's no such thing as a normal person, but I get what you're saying.
It's normal. In other words, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 ears. That's normal. Legs, feet, that's normal. If you don't have those, you're not normal. Something happened to you. Maybe you got one taken out, lost it, serving in a war, or maybe you were born without it. That's not normal to not have that standard equipment. It's not normal to be outside of what's going on with the parameters. It's not normal to need to wear glasses to read. That's a handicap, but a lot of people have it, but it's not normal. We didn't evolve to wear glasses.
In the sense of politics, what do you what do you mean by
what I'm saying is normal is you're a heterosexual man or a woman, male or female. You have the standard physical equipment. You're not blind, you're not deaf, you're not dumb, you're not retarded, you are not physically handicapped, you don't have any congenital illnesses at a youthful stage in your life. That's normal. You can do the things that will get you past the test to get into the military or get a driver's license, get insurance because you can pass the physical exam. You can get drafted. Those are normal things. Now, when somebody is more concerned about their special pronouns than the English language, when somebody thinks if you put on a sports bra and some panties that allows you to compete with the girls, when somebody, I mean, it's their business to do what they want to do in their bedrooms. Get, like I say all the time, get your freak on. But when they start trying to push it on the rest of us as something we should adopt, that's not what we are. And we are also normal because we are normal Americans and we think people should have free speech. We understand that what some people say may be repugnant to us, but we understand they have a right to speak it. We have supported free speech for 200 plus years. A lot of our kinfolk and ancestors have died or suffered greatly trying to defend that right. We say all people should be treated equally, even if they're not in actual ability. We understand these things, and that's what we have been dedicated to. We're not trying to set up a fascist situation because we think everybody is weak, so therefore they should be entitled to care as an adult that is not merited nor necessary unless there's an emergency, a safety net. but we don't look at it as a safety net the way it's being manifested right now, where some people at the taxpayers' expense, just because they don't feel like it, are supposed to be taken care of. Responsibility, honor, duty, accountability, morality, ethics, sense of purpose, dedicated to making where you live a better, safer, more secure place, filled with economic prosperity and sense of purpose, being all about public peace, dignity, and order, and being brave and courageous when necessary, but peaceful otherwise. So that's what's normal for an American, not what we hear some people blasting out about.
Right. Okay. Good stuff. So I want to bring up Elon Musk, right? Because I spoke to you about this. We was going to talk about it last. No, I actually wanted, and this is the thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to record it over the weekend, but I can't get you over the weekend. For us to record, it has to be on a certain day, and which I understand because
every now and then I have a life.
Right, exactly. What? Oh my God.
Hey.
Give me a second.
Excuse me.
Thursday. What was Thursday? Okay, here we go. Yeah. Had it in the wrong one. So Elon Musk made some remarks about slavery. And honestly, I'm tired of the white fatigue that's going on right now. So he tweeted this, and I am going to play this clip. He says, children should be proud that whites in the West ended slavery worldwide, which had existed for thousands of years. So I'm going to play this video. He wrote that comment and tweeted and retweeted this clip here.
Why don't schools teach the role the British and the United States of America played in ending slavery? Every school teaches about the transatlantic slave trade, but they don't teach about the trans-Saharan, the trans-Indian, and the Ottoman slave trade. And the trans-Saharan slave trade lasted for over 1,000 years, enslaved 9 to 17 million people, and didn't fully end until 1981. The trans-Indian slave trade lasted for over 1,000 years, enslaved 4 to 10 million people, and ended in 1897. The Ottoman slave trade lasted for 600 years and didn't end until 1924, with 5 to 10 million people being enslaved. But the transatlantic slave trade only lasted for 400 years and ended in 1888, which means it ended well before the other three slave trades, because Thomas Jefferson banned the transatlantic slave trade in 1807, the same year that the British banned the transatlantic slave trade. And Britain didn't just ban slavery, they put together an elite fighting force for the purpose of ending the practice altogether. The elite naval force patrolled the coast of West Africa for 5 decades, capturing 1,600 slave ships and freeing 200,000 people. And the UK and Europe were early in abolishing slavery, as was South America, as was the United States of America, but it continued in the Middle East deep into the 20th century, in China and Thailand to the 20th century, in Africa to the 20th century. And the trans-Indian, sub-Saharan, and Ottoman slave trades would all collapse under pressure from the British Empire and other European powers, as the United States and especially Britain put immense pressure on other world powers to end the practice of slavery. Without Western diplomatic and naval intervention, these trades likely would have persisted well into the 20th century, because slavery was deeply entrenched in the societies of North Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian Ocean world. And the people in the United States, the people in Britain, the people in the West should be immensely proud of this achievement. Slavery was a dreadful institution that had been around for thousands of years, practiced everywhere in the world. But from John Locke to Thomas Jefferson, the ideals of individual liberty spread around the world like wildfire. And this is what makes Western culture exceptional. And our children should be taught to be proud of that. But history in school is taught through a Marxist lens. And they teach our kids to be ashamed of our history. And we can do so much better. So check out the courses I teach, my private homeschool community, and my books on what it means to be free. ClassicalLearner.com.
Just a little FYI, please stop putting the music in your videos as if you guys are trying to be extra dramatic. It is so annoying. And then people a lot of times can't use it because of copyright, because of the music you're using. So, but it's annoying. Like, I want to hear what you're saying, not the music at the same level. However, that was a cute 3-minute propaganda video.
It was selling a product. He's trying to, it's interesting. One thing, I'm not going to give Jefferson a free pass on that. The Constitution itself says that slavery importation of slaves was to stop in 1808. That's written in the Constitution. If Jefferson started that 1 year beforehand in 1807, he was only getting a jump on what was mandatory by American constitutional requirements. Now, Great Britain's Navy, the Royal Navy, did in fact have a great deal to do with ending the slave trade, but there's kind of
it had a great deal dealing with the slave trade period when it was operational, and the Navy was built under King Henry VIII, and the slave trade that's right probably at the beginning. Though England wasn't in the slave trade at that point, but Spain was.
His daughter, Queen Elizabeth,
yes, she got into
with
it.
Sir Francis Drake and Sir Walter Raleigh, who were given letters of what they call marque, M-A-R-Q-U-E, so they could be legal pirates and not get hung if they got caught by the Spanish, would hijack shipments of slaves, Negroes, as the Spanish called them, and they would move Spanish colonies at backwater ports for a great discount, and then they started bringing them to the American colonies. But now, interestingly enough, there's a bit of hypocrisy, and not so much what he's saying, but just the situation. We had a hit movie called The Woman King, and it's some propaganda bullshit because it's about Dahomey, and the Dahomeans are with the collaboration of the Dutch or the Belgians. They kept up the slave importation or exportation from Africa all the way up until the beginning of the 20th century. So that was what that movie was about. That woman queen, which is a fraud, a king, because they didn't really have that. That's just Hollywood hype. But what they were doing is backing up or operating the slave trade. What's that?
It was a portrayal of Queen Zinga.
Yeah, and Queen Zinga needed to be put on a wall and shot for crimes against humanity, just like Heinrich Himmler or Adolf Hitler or
anyone else who participated in the slave trade. So here's my take, though,
but Hollywood glorified it, and the Negroes went and spent their hard-earned money to go applaud it.
Well, a lot of people spent their hard-earned money to go see Gone with the Wind, but I get what you're saying as far as Black people applauding. Here we have a woman queen / king who was a warrior, but everybody has people in position of power. Majority of people in position of power have a dirty, dark deeds.
Did you ever?
That they have,
yeah.
That I've seen a movie, but let me just say this, going back to his point with slavery. See, when I'm calling what his video here is propaganda, yes, he's selling his product, because it doesn't matter what part of the world ended slavery before the other part. It doesn't matter. when we're talking about the transatlantic, because of when we talk about Black Americans here in America, the Africans were dropped off in Brazil and in the Caribbean, and then only less than 5% was dropped off here. Some people from that was dropped off in the Caribbean were then shipped here, but we had to deal with chattel slavery here in this country, in this land. It doesn't matter if it ended before the East African slave trade. It does not matter. And what he's trying to say is it was the white man, it was the Brits that ended it. And it's like, no, they profited off of slavery. And the only reason why they chose to end it when they ended it, because they knew they could no longer really go on and making a high profit. And on top of that, the slave owners got reparations. All those wealthy black white families that were plantation owners with throughout the Caribbean during that time were getting 10 million, 20 million, $15 million as reparations because Britain was ending slavery. See, the institution of slavery over here in the Western Hemisphere, the wealth was already sold up, the power, the money, the positions, the status was already ingrained for life, that a lot of thousands of families to this day are benefiting from the riches that their forefathers have were able to obtain because of slavery. So just because it ended in
and we could have rebelled.
Let me finish this. Just because it ended in 1863 in America and I believe 1805 in England, the wealth was already.
It was 1743.
No, in England it ended in 1805.
England, no, in England that's when they stopped the slave trade absolutely coming out of Africa.
What I'm talking about.
But 1743 is when they ended it in Great Britain. Queen Charlotte was King George's
the slave
wife.
Trade in 1805 because the wealth was already solidified. It was already you had enough wealth and power and position that people, wealthy families today, are living off of.
That's not why they stopped it. But it would have been dead.
Wait, hold on. They didn't stop it because they got a change of heart.
It had nothing to do with goodness. It had to do with practical necessity. It was not.
Right. That's what I'm getting to, Judge.
Hold on a second.
Let me finish. Let me finish my spill here. Because that's what I'm saying. They didn't end it because they just got a good moral conscience. They already had the wealth, the power, the position, and like you said, and they realized they could no longer go any further in this type of industry. But it would have kept going on if they didn't make any money. The purpose of slavery was to make money. So I don't care when it ended. This is why I'm calling this propaganda, because it's not about, I'm not going to thank white people for ending slavery when you are the same white people that partaked in it and even started it, a part of it, that this part of this hemisphere of it. So no, there's no thanking anybody, no matter what color or background they are. Go ahead.
Slavery functioned as a substitute for the modern appliance. It was a supplement to the horse, the ox, and other domestic animals, and the dog that had utilities, those who were into certain kinds of agriculture and other service functions.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. Marcia, Joseph, whoever else, shut the fuck up, because you don't know your history. I do. So nobody can't tell me the logistics and the reasonings behind slavery and the slave trade. I don't care who's sitting up here next to me. Stop. Everybody want to act like they so fucking smart. But go ahead.
Actually, there's a lot of literature and a lot of history, historical references on the subject. You might look at the date 1743 in the British Isles. Now, aside from that, the interesting thing is when they did end slavery in Great Britain, they did not end it in their colonies. But there is another interesting thing too. If you do a DNA analysis of a lot of commoners in England, you will find that there is recent African ancestry, because the slaves that were emancipated in England were not deported. They stayed there. And they bred with the lower caste Englishmen. So it is what it is. And you also have Queen Charlotte, who was of significant African descent. She was King George's wife, and the colonists, some of them, particularly those from the southern regions of what became the United States, were very disgruntled that their queen was so obviously similar to some of their slaves. That was another reason that isn't well put out there, but it was there for them starting the revolution. Now, interestingly enough, one of her descendants, Queen Victoria, who reigned for a very long time in England, was also the grandmother of the German Kaiser Wilhelm II, of the Russian Tsar Nicholas, and of the mother of the British king when World War I started in 1914. So that's an interesting connection that this African woman, Queen Charlotte, had with European destiny. So it is what it is. It's quite fascinating, really. King George was a little cuckoo. He had mental health issues. And we can thank him for not being so zealous about keeping the colonies. We can also have to do with his urge to do some reform in Britain with their revisioned attitude towards slavery, and his Queen Charlotte, who was of African descent. So it's interesting.
It was another piece that I wanted to share, and this is what Candace had to say about slavery.
Contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men, okay? Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They've buried a lot of it, but it's there and you can find it.
Is she right that Jewish people were involved in the slave trade? Absolutely.
Yes.
They were. But again, I'm tired of this white fatigue. Stop acting like, oh, and who's going around? Well, first of all, I don't, but there are people, but I'm not going around, me personally, oh, white people, white men are the enemy or whatever. But I get the understanding of having a disdain for white men, because yes, white men, white women, Jews, and anybody else, but particularly white men and women here in America and abroad in the Caribbean, were involved in slavery. Heavy. whether they were slave owners, plantation owners, overseers, whether they worked for someone who were, a plantation owner. Yes, they were all involved in slavery. White men. And if Jewish people look white, they were white. They were just Jews. Yes, them too. So
It's called finance.
So miss me with, oh, white men are not your enemy. It's really the Jews. The Jews are the
What
ones
she's talking about
that
is who
were
financed the endeavor.
enslaving. Yeah, but they all
No.
played a part. Everybody played a part. Everybody is dirty.
Yes.
Africans,
including the folk that
Arabs.
submitted to slavery without rebellion.
No. Jews, Arabs, white men, Africans, everybody played a part. I'm not going to say that
Every
the
culture,
person that was enslaved, I'm not going to blame them, because if they didn't stay alive, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here.
well, I don't particularly, and I don't care. I shouldn't be here if it meant that they got themselves free or tried. See, I keep telling people the real deal is Negroes were looked at as two-legged domestic animals. White people were looked at as domestic animals in one sense, but not as much as black folk, who were looked at as cattle. See, we were looked at as African great apes. I told you about that. I was years ago at UCLA, where I was a student. I was wandering through one of the older libraries. I was doing an anthropology project, and I stumbled on some things in the archives. It was an old book written somewhere at the beginning of the 20th century, and it was trying to convince people that Darwin was right with evolution. And it said one has only to look at the African great apes to see their similarity to humans. They used the same gestures, the three African great apes, and they remind us so much of humanity. And one African great ape is even capable of speaking human language to an extent, and it even can breed with humans. So if one looks at the great African ape known as the Negro and combines that with the other two African great apes, the gorilla and the chimpanzee, you can see the point. So they considered the Negro an African great ape. And he was a domestic animal, a chattel, a member of a
That's why
herd, cattle.
we had chattel slavery here in America, which is different from other.
Yeah, because it's subhuman. The other folk were Untermenschen, maybe according to the Germans, subhuman, but they were at least classified as human rather than something else. Negroes were classified with domestic animals along with horses and cows and sheep and goats and stuff like that, pigs, except you couldn't eat them.
Yeah, I mean, slavery is a horrible institution. Any form of slavery. So, Candace also tweeted this. This is from the Jewish Encyclopedia. She highlighted, during the 17th century, the sugar industry was monopolized by the Jews. In fact, the cotton plantations in many parts of the South were wholly in the hands of the Jews, and as a consequence, slavery found its advocates among them. So again, she's making her point. The point that she's trying to make is that Jewish people are the ones that really was the stronghold of slavery and the slave trade. Listen, yes, they were, and so was everybody else. So I'm not going to say, oh, it's all the Jews' fault. No, it's the Jews and everybody else. It's a whole lot of other people there, countries, empires, and we're not even talking about colonization. We're just talking about slavery itself. So Not just the Jews, but of course, Jews have their hands just about everything because it's money involved. Banking, insurance, all that. Inventions. Yeah. All that.
Well, the term slave comes from Slav, Eastern European whites that were believed to be ideal slaves.
Also,
there was another name for it besides slave before they adopted that.
Right. Well, I want to highlight this one last thing for this topic here. King Harold, Herod, King Harold. Herod, sorry, King Herod. King Herod the Great tried to kill baby Jesus, fearing the newborn king of the Jews would usurp his throne, leading him to order the brutal massacre of the innocents in Bethlehem, killing all male infants under 2 years old. Though Jesus escaped by fleeing to Egypt with Mary and Joseph, later during Jesus' adult ministry, a different ruler, how you pronounce his name? Herod Antipas interrogated Jesus, mocked him, and sent him back to Pilate. But
Pontius Pilate.
No, Pilate. Isn't that Pilate? But didn't execute him. I guess Pilate is a place. So apparently, but King Herod, he was Jewish king, was a Roman Jewish king.
All Jews were Roman citizens at the time, unless they were slaves.
Right. Who were their slaves? Where were their slaves from? Syria?
They
German.
If I'm not mistaken, anybody could be a slave in Rome. The thing was, sometimes slaves were very powerful people, and some of the most powerful in the empire, especially freemen who had been freed. So they exercised a lot of power. Slavery is interesting. You ever heard of the Janissaries? The Janissaries took place in much later times. They were Islamic. They'd been captured and they were slaves. And for a 200-year period, to be the chief sultan in the Islamic world, you had to have been a slave. Sultan Babars, Bars, one of the great ones, a very, very powerful and ruthless man, started off as a slave. And that was de rigueur. So it had its ups and downs.
Let me do a quick correction. Pilate, Pilate, Pontius Pilate. See, people were spelling Pontius Pilate as Pilot. Pilate is how you spell Pilate of Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate. I forgot you know Latin. Pontius Pilate.
He was the chief magistrate for the Romans, and he had that hearing where he put Jesus in front of the mob, and the mob turned down the appeal that was made on his behalf and picked the thief to live. Jesus was a Roman citizen, but refused to exercise his right to a trial. He refused to exercise his right to an attorney. He refused to exercise his right to an appeal. And in Rome, you had the formal mechanisms of appeal after a conviction, and ultimately they had one that the United States did not adopt, and that was the ability to appeal to the mob or to the crowd for rescue. But they didn't like it because in Jewish law, as I understand it, the Messiah was supposed to be a great warrior or general, and when somebody comes in on what's now celebrated as Palm Sunday, apparently certain in the Jewish community took it as a signal to rise up against the Roman Empire, and several hundred of them, almost 500, got put to death by a certain Roman legion. And it was a fact that on average, every 7 years, somewhere in the Roman Empire, Jews rose up in rebellion. So it's an intriguing situation.
Herod. King
We
Herod.
modeled the United States House. Yes, we modeled the U.S. House of Representatives on the Roman House of Plebes. Our U.S. Senate is modeled on the Roman Senate. And our justice system takes a great deal from that of ancient Rome. But
So, listen,
it's a long
Jews,
time ago. And Rome, as an
Christian,
empire in the second center, had 180 some million people, which the U.S. didn't reach until 1960 something.
Jews, Christians, Muslims, every religion, but the three main religions all participated in the act of slavery. All
Everybody, the
participated.
Hindus did too, Buddhists did
Hindus,
too,
Buddhists, everybody,
Confucianism did it, Mitraillus did.
everybody,
Human slaves were a substitute for appliances.
everybody. And so, for me, it's the fact that because we have social media and people are accustomed to sound bites, but swear that they are so well informed, and you're not. Because if we want to be well informed, we have to pick up a book and read. We have to be willing to do some research. And when you start reading and when you start doing research, you start to uncover the multi facets of slavery, who participated, who benefited, who were the victims, yada yada yada. But so no particular group should be praised for ending something that should have never even started. It's like an oxymoron. So I say that to say Elon Musk,
That was one of the reasons human went to. That's why people would go to wars to get slaves. They needed appliances.
Appliances, right? In a form of humans, right?
And when it came to the Romans, see, the spoils belonged to the general or whoever was operating the Roman legions, and he divided it up amongst his troops and followers and became very rich for it. They'd go to war just so they could pick up slaves and land when the economy was down.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. Rome would conquer somebody and enslave them, and in 3 generations, those same people who were subject to enslavement would become senators, Roman officers in the legions, and prosperous Romans of great wealth. Rome has one interesting thing. It started off in one village. There were 7 hills of Rome, and there was a village on each hill. The first village conquered the other 6. Then they started conquering the rest of the Italian peninsula. Mm-hmm. And they ran out of women, so they raided the Sabines and captured and raped their women because they needed wives. It's a famous thing called the rape of the Sabine women. that the Romans were known for earlier in their history. And then they went on to conquer what is now Italy, and then Gaul and Germany and England. And they controlled before that Spain and North Africa and Egypt.
Well, one more thing. I'm gonna save this DEI thing for Thursday, but one more thing for when we record Wednesday. One more thing I want to bring to your attention. I want you to comment on, because they're is really talking about your black fraternities.
Well, they aren't what they used to be. Black fraternities and sororities started off more than 119 years ago for the oldest of them, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And what they were supposed to be doing is fighting, if necessary, segregation or American apartheid. And the pledging was hard because they wanted to see if somebody was caught, if they could resist torture at the hands of a local sheriff and not tell on everybody. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 frats and 1, 2, 3, 4 sororities, just 4 of each, 8. There was no divine 9. That's recent day crap, because it was what it was. We talked about that thing in DC in 1919 when there was that riot and the black veterans brought guns in from Baltimore that the Pullman car porters smuggled in. Also, Alpha Phi Alpha was involved in that. And that's one of the instances where more whites died than blacks did, even though everybody focuses on the debacle in Tulsa, Oklahoma, aka Black Wall Street, where the black folk didn't even own any property rights. They rented from the Native Americans. But it is what it is. And then it started nicening
I
up.
don't want the history right now. I just want to play this
That
clip.
was the end of it right there. It was a revolutionary organization that has become a fit these days.
All right, so let me play this clip.
There is an invasion going on in the body of Christ, and the invasion is a public one. Show this clip, please.
Hold up. You sent your kids to college, and they pledged AKA because you did. You never researched what AKA or Sigma Gamma Rho and all that was. You just did it. Then when you find out what it is, you find out the ritual they had to do to cross the burning sands and the pledge to the god of Horus. Pledge allegiance. You took an oath to an Egyptian deity. So that oath is binding. You cannot receive Christ with that oath. You have to renounce that oath. But they won't renounce the oath because they have pride in the fraternity. Everybody's in some kind of secret society where they outright pledge allegiance to other spirits.
Now,
he's a liar, by the way.
If you have
There's
participated
no such
in
oath
this,
taken to any Egyptian
among
god.
the things you said in your oath, and this is why a lot of people try to get around this part. People say, well, I'm in it, but I'm no longer active. I don't pay my dues. I'm not. To get out, you have to denounce. And you know that, because part of the vow that you took was that you would never denounce. And so in trying to get around that, trust me, it's much easier for me not to talk about this. I can do like other churches. Just don't even bring it up. Just pretend and go on and just let people be lost. But I did not write, thou shalt have no other God before me. I didn't write that. I didn't write, come out from among them and be separate. The sins of Jeroboam was idolatry. And we're seeing this more and more in the Christian church. We're seeing this in the sanctified church. We're seeing it in the Baptist church. Some churches they proudly display their allegiance to Greek gods gods with Egyptian heritages. They flash signs, and then they name the name of Christ. But I still say that if the Apostle Paul, after he met Jesus, had to come out of Judaism, which is the foundation religion for Christianity. From Judaism, we get the law. We get the prophets, we get the Psalms. And yet Paul, when he met Jesus, Paul said, I count all of this but dung for the more excellent knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord. Do you still believe that the knowledge of Christ is superior to the knowledge of Greeks? Some of you not saying anything.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is
So let's talk about what's happening in Minnesota.
Now, there is Paul, when he met Jesus, Paul said, I count all of this but dung for the more excellent knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord. Do you still believe that the knowledge of Christ is superior to the knowledge of Greeks? Some of you not saying anything.
He's an ignorant and lying pulpit pimp.
Why you say that?
He's lying. That's not what it's about. There is no such oath. That's a damned lie. And he's ignorant, and he's spreading it, and he's pimping, trying to get his collection plate full. And if you look at the ministers, the bishops who have been very active in the black church for the last 100 or so years, overwhelmingly you will find that you get the fraternities there. The thing is honorable. It has nothing to do with any allegiance to God. What it is about is to fight apartheid. When Emmett Till was killed, the word came to Memphis. A guy named Ernest Withers, who was a black cop and also ultimately to become a famous photographer who has a permanent exhibit in the Smithsonian Institution, and A.W. Willis, who was an attorney, an alpha, and Russell Sugarman, his law partner, who was an alpha. They went to Mississippi. I got the story from all three individuals face to face one time. And what wound up happening is Ernest Withers took 6 rolls of film of Emmett Till's body in Mississippi. He didn't develop the film. He gave 3 rolls to Withers, 3 rolls to Sugarman, and their job was to split up, get to Illinois, get the film developed at a Walgreens, get prints, and take it to the Illinois governor so he could demand Till's body back. Well, A.W. Willis got captured by the sheriff, and he was tortured for several hours, but managed to escape and join back up with Russell Sugarman, Attorney Sugarman. And that's what the fraternity thing was about. As he said it to me, he said, I was tortured for multiple hours. It hurt, but it wasn't as bad as what I went through for Hell Week, so I could endure it. And I met up with Sugarman in Illinois. We got the film developed at a Walgreens on a rush basis, and we took it to the governor. And he saw it, was horrified, and he issued an order that Till's body be brought to Illinois. That's how we found out about it. That's what the frats were supposed to be about. You will notice that Martin Luther King, who just happened to be an alpha, you will note that Thurgood Marshall was there. You'll notice that just about everybody that was anybody in the civil rights struggle was there. You will note that most of the black leaders were there. You will note that most of the Tuskegee Airmen were in one frat or another. So that did a lot of good. It sissied up in the 70s when, oh my God, they pushed me. And that started going along, and now they have punks that walk around in pink suits and high-heeled sandals so they can switch their little butts, and they want little things about you don't have to be unidentified as a man to be no, but see, that's not what it was about. Now they have the Divine Nine that has nothing to do with the original purpose. The whole thing about being Greek outside of this lying charlatan right here was so that they could masquerade as a black edition of the white Greek social organizations. And people would think it was just colored folk or Negroes doing it. But their purpose was subversive, and there was no oath to any Egyptian god. That's just an ignorant somebody that probably got turned back because they didn't want him. And he's upset that he didn't belong. So it is what it is. It's a lie, it's ignorant, and it's perpetrating of what you would expect out of a pulpit pimp, ignorant nonsense, and filling the congregation with stupidity. And that is something that black folk ought to hold up, because there was a lot done for black folk in the name of fraternities and sororities back when nobody was a coward and people had no organizations to turn to other than this, and occasionally meet up in churches. So he's lying about the circumstance. There's no worship the Egyptian god that one takes an oath to. That's bullshit. And I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. He sounds like he's somebody that is an evil, lying scoundrel who is trying to generate business, and he's irresponsible. And you don't have to denounce.
Well, you don't have to denounce Jesus, you're saying.
It doesn't even come up. You're encouraged to have whatever religion you have, whether you're Christian,
religion
Jewish,
and pledging and being a part of fraternity or sorority, they don't collide.
No, it's all it
they're not
is
worshiping any deities in sorority.
no, they don't. The bottom line is it originally started out to see how tough you were, and you were initiated into what you were doing, which has evaporated from being willing to die to advance the political and social interest of your people to nothing but a party organization with a whole bunch of sissies who could not pass Hell Week had they been subjected to it. They have some fine young brothers and sisters, but they don't know what they're there for. So, yeah, Martin Luther King, he's a preacher, if I'm not mistaken. Adam Clayton Powell was an alpha, met Big Brother Powell. Vice President of the United States of America, Big Brother Hubert Humphrey was an alpha, met him. So, by the way, Kamala's lying if she claims to be the first black Greek to be vice president of the United States. It wasn't her. It was Hubert Humphrey, who was Lyndon Baines Johnson's vice president, but he lost to Richard Milhouse Nixon.
He was black?
No, he was a white guy, tall, 6'4", almost 6'5". He got made in Minnesota back in the 30s the hard way with a lot of wood, and then he pledged grad chapter. Well, he became part of the grad chapter as well.
She was the first black. She just said the first
black sorority member, black Greek organization member to be vice president. She wasn't. Big Brother Hubert Humphrey, who was an alpha, made up in Minnesota.
Was Hubert Humphrey black?
No, but it was a black fraternity back in the 1930s when, it wasn't.
He was part of a black fraternity.
Yes. So she's not black either. She's Hindu and Irish.
Why would he want to be part of a black fraternity?
Because he wanted to be a real live badass. It was a purpose.
Or
the
maybe
Tuskegee Airmen were almost universally members of a black fraternity, one or the other. In Masonry, they talk about that. It has nothing to do with worship of any devils. What it's about,
the Freemasons, y'all worship devils.
What it's about is learning to build structures. You advance from a peasant to somebody that knows how to make bricks, to a bricklayer, which is the 4th degree, all the way up to the Shriner, who gets into the shrine in the center of the temple, whatever it was, or the church, so you could get maximum compensation. And they taught you to eventually be an architectural engineer. And meanwhile, they taught you good character and organization because it was a valuable skill to be able to build the pyramid. And if you go as far as you want to in masonry, you learn how they built the pyramids. It's not a mystery. It makes a lot of sense, but we don't tell. So
I'm surprised Obama was never part of a fraternity.
well, he's kind of a swishy boy anyway. He liked to hang out in the bathhouses and push what he pushed. So I don't know. I don't think he'd have been a good one. Maybe he joined, maybe I just don't know, but it's not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We turned somebody back if we didn't like them. Say, no, you can't be one unless you can pass these tests. And it was brutal because back when that was going on, the Southern Democratic sheriff was a brutal individual. They lynched folk in the Klan who was part of the Democratic Party apparatus back then, was on the lookout. Jesus Christ, Bubba, I can't stand them militant niggers that's going around starting up all this local trouble. We've got good relations with our colored folk.
Mm. Well, good show. Good show. I think I got like one or two. Oh yeah. Thank you, Mr. Misty, for the super chat. Happy holidays. Thank you, Dwayne. Says past episode judge insight on sinners. Amazing. Yeah, that was a good clip. Catellia says Judge got on an expensive coat. Wilhelm Hermann.
Yeah, I could afford it. No big deal.
Bjorn Bolgener Jr. is a German fashion designer, filmmaker, and former alpine ski racer.
Yeah, my ex-wife was a ski instructor up in Aspen, Colorado. She could ski.
Thank you, Emmy Lewis. Love you, Dana. You're always keeping us in the now. Love it and love your content. Thank you. Love you back. Appreciate you guys. Listen, happy holidays. Everybody have a lot of people taking a week off. So this is a big holiday week season throughout the world. Have a wonderful, happy holidays. And I'm still going to be uploading. And yeah, we're going to be recording Wednesday, not Thursday. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Like, share, comment below, and we'll see you in the next show.
I got a subject we need to talk about, something that is apparently a genetic change in humanity. Some people have not 3 sets of cones and rods in their eyes. Some have 4. And some of these people are able to see colors that no other humans can see. Think about, how would you describe color to somebody that can only see black and white?
I have no idea. Okay, can we talk about this behind the scenes?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's an interesting thing. Don't let me forget that. I'm just freaking out off of how somebody can see a 4 set of colors that nobody else can see. Where you look at something white and it doesn't look white, it looks color, but you can't describe it because nobody else has the experience of what this color looks like. Just think about it.
Well, shout out to someone in Sweden and Ireland that's watching. I just got a notification from the website. Happy holidays worldwide. All right, everybody.
Hey, Ireland.
I know. Sweden. There's a lot of beautiful women in Sweden.
Sweden.
All right. Good night, guys. Bye. Do I have a I do. Let me get this outro thing in here. What is this? Where's the outro at?
Don't forget the barbecue advertisement. I need a little income.